You need a wood substrate, so it doesn't have any flex to it. It can't be flexible. And I've done a little bit of carving on this one just to add some texture, because I'm going to start building up textures.
I want to put my hand in.
Yeah,
because
it's
it
just,
doesn't really show. There it is.
Yeah, it's not much, but that little bit will help, like grab the wax and help it build up.
Is this pencil mark on
That's
here?
just pencil.
Did you deliberately put that in there as your feature?
Yes,
Okay.
I do that a lot under my work. Sometimes you see it, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it gets covered up.
I just have to show this.
That was a gift from a friend.
Very
my friend
true.
Lisa.
Very nice.
True. So this is encaustic medium, and it's beeswax and damar resin, which is tree resin, mixed together.
It smells good.
And so the first layer does smell good. It's got like that beeswax and sort of piney smell to it. So you brush the first layer on.
So pretty. Even your brushes are beautiful, Kate.
I don't always use pretty brushes. Sometimes I use, chip brushes.
Shut off.
But
You brought out the good
well,
stuff today.
this is my nice big one that I use for putting a base coat on. So you do that, and then I'm gonna light this, Curtis.
Wait, there's going to be
So
fire.
There's gonna be fire.
That's why we have a fire suppression.
Should I sign the waiver
Right.
first?
I've got my fire extinguisher over there, and then you melt it in
Oh, wow.
so that it sort of sinks in.
It's the creme brulee method.
Yeah, sinks into the wood. That first
How did you
layer.
start doing encaustic? This is a very different sort of medium.
I honestly saw some encaustic pieces and was just really enthralled with I like the feel of it and the visual, the softness of it, and the translucency of it, so that you can build up layers. And I just started doing some research online and tried it out for myself in a piece that I later learned it was all wrong. I made did all sorts of things you weren't supposed to do.
Well.
Like, you're not supposed to mix paraffin with your beeswax because they're too different, and yeah. So all these mistakes I made on the first piece, and then I saw that there was a weekend-long workshop up at the Krasel Art Center in St. Joe's, Michigan, and I have a friend who's the director of Krasel, and I stayed with her. I just drove myself up there and spent a weekend learning with an artist named Susan Mulder. And so after that, I basically just came home and said, I'm buying all the encaustic supplies. This is what I'm doing now. My discipline was originally sculpture.
I see.
And so I was not I hadn't been painting in that way, but the material is so sculptural and allows you so many different ways to use it that you can,
It's the best of both worlds.
Yes.
It's to kind of sculpt and paint.
Yes.
The colors are incredible. Did you mix those colors yourself?
I did. I make my own paint.
Whoa, look at the
So
color.
it's you can mix it with oil paint or loose pigments, and so I use both. And right now with fans and ceiling fans on, I tend to just use oil paint because I don't want to be blowing pigments
You
around.
get really very concentrated color.
Yes. And
Saturated
you
color.
can control how sheer or how opaque you have them by doing that. So
And this blue, I think, is a
love this.
particular color of yours, Kate.
I
I've
use
noticed that
this
you've
a
been
lot.
using it a lot.
I do.
Is there a name for the blue, or what would you call this?
No, I use I don't
It's
know.
like
it's
an
like
aqua.
yeah,
It's like
it's like a tealish sort
teal
of a
Every
blue.
time Maria describes any piece of Kate, she always says, it's that layer of ocean.
The layer of ocean. Oh, I like that. I like that.
She likes to name colors. She thinks it'd be a fun job to be the person who names
I
things
think
like
it would.
lipsticks
yeah.
and paints and
Heck
nail
yeah.
polishes.
I'd like to get paid to do that.
Definitely.
Somebody does. Right?
Somebody does. So when you do this, it's like really warm out today. Usually I'll let it just cool in between a little bit, but it starts building up texture right away. And I'll do a few layers and then continue to just really lightly fuse it so you don't leave that. And let's see, I'll just go ahead and use this, but you can scrape those back into there. And just keep going.
Now,
So
Kate recently had a show where she collaborated with another artist. They actually sent pieces back and forth and altered each other's art.
yes.
That's a fun idea.
Yeah, we had 40 pieces. They were small. They were just 8-inch rounds, and they were medium that she's an acrylic painter and I'm an caustic artist. Those two things don't generally go together. So we decided we would just sort of break all the rules and do it anyway.
I think that's the best
And
possible
they
thing
documented
ever.
everything that they did.
That was my
which
next
was
question.
Really
Yes,
nice. They
like
did.
every time
yeah.
we traded,
Yeah.
we documented the changes we made on the panels until they were done.
Did you
And
put
then-
it online, or could other people see what you were doing?
We did some of that online, and then in the end, we had a show at the Co, which the Contemporary,
Dayton.
which
We
was
used to do
DVAC
that.
at the time,
Yeah.
the Dayton Visual
That's
Arts Center.
Ava that we
Yeah,
tried to
yeah.
meet.
Yeah. So we documented, and then when we hung the show, we hung it in a way that had all of the visual like steps like radiating out from it, and these cool little clings that
It was a wonderful show.
That sounds
So it
magnificent.
was really fun. It had kind of a crazy, beautiful, sort of like things like
It
you
looks
know,
very
but
organic on the walls.
yeah, I was really pleased with how it came out. But that was our whole proposal, was that we be able to document a process that people don't normally get to see.
That's magnificent. So you are a natural collaborator, it sounds like. This is
Yes,
your milieu. Your
I like
fish
that.
to
Although
water on the
that
collaboration.
that was inspiration for that was Amy Kohler Anderson.
Okay.
She does that a lot, but asking me just really sort of
Yeah.
pushed in that direction, and I really love working with other
Does it
artists.
make you want to do another project of that kind, or some
Oh,
other
yeah.
kind of collaboration? Do you have something in the works?
I don't have anything in the works, although I have a friend I was talking to who just retired from an art teaching job, and I've been trying to push her to, like make art. Now that
Yeah.
she's not in the classroom, she has time to be in the studio. And so we were talking about working with some like big old 1950s paper maps, the wall maps, and 'cause she's got a pile of them, and I'm like, oh, I just can't. Yeah, like we
Can't wait to get your
I know.
hands on
I
it.
feel like we should do something with those, and that would be a really fun project to work together on.
Kate
With
has
music
map
as well.
lust.
I
Yeah,
do.
I love maps too.
I love maps.
I want to do a project with fake maps, making worlds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always wanted to do that. When I was a kid, I used to draw maps.
I did too.
Fake maps,
Yeah, we used to like make up places, and then
Yeah.
you had to have a map for it. Because
Yeah.
of course.
So this is the same wax, but it's looking thicker to me. Did it cool down a little bit?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it will as it thickens. You build up layers. You build up a little more opacity. Although when it's totally cool, it gets a little more translucent again. So it looks cloudier while it's still warm. And yeah, so when you work and build up those textures like that, you can then rub oil paint into it and wipe the surface off, and it will stay in your lines, which allows you to do a lot of drawings. I've got some work over there that I used that method with. Or you can, you can add things into it if you like collage elements, because the wax will hold it there. So pieces of paper, or it's such a versatile medium. It can be glassy smooth, or it can be really textural.
I noticed a lot of your pieces on the wall seem very 3D. Like there's a lot of layers in
I
there.
try for that.
Yeah.
I really like it when you can see through it to some things behind, although I've been, doing some stuff that it isn't like that. It's just relying on the texture. But other things, I really like it when you can peek through to some of the base layers, sometimes all the way down to the board that has, like I'll write things on there, not necessarily legible things, but
Okay, it makes people get close and squint.
Right.
Like, well, what is that?
Right.
You try to read the hidden messages.
And
yeah.
that's what I really like about this, is I like to pull people in, like right up
Right.
close, and really get your face in there and let people look at it.
So it's like a treasure map.
It is a
still.
little
You're,
bit,
like,
yeah.
Still doing the maps.
Yeah.
I noticed, Kate, you do have a lot of pieces on the wall with metallic elements. How do you achieve that? What is that made out of?
It is just metal leaf, gold leaf, silver leaf, and the awesome thing about an encaustic surface is that you don't really need any size to hold that. It will just, you can lay it down in there and mask off shapes and rub it on, and the wax grabs it, and you burnish it on there, and that's it. It's just on there.
Piece of cake, huh?
Yeah. You would have to scrape it off with a razor blade, but
Is it real gold?
that is not. It's a copper base. But I do use silver leaf a lot. It's an expense thing, but I actually kind of like the color of the
I like the
copper-based
copper.
one.
It looks somehow really more organic. Gold
Yeah.
can kind of look fake in a
Yeah,
pretty weird way.
yeah. It's a little less yellow and a little warmer. So,
So, quick question about this building. So, when I came in, I said, "Is it safe?" And the reason I asked that is I live in Oakland, California, and that's where the ghost ship fire happened in 2016. And it was a warehouse space where artists had converted it, and it was without any kind of oversight by anybody, and they were not doing things to code. They built structures inside, So I always ask, and you said that the building was rewired and that there were new
Yes.
sprinklers. How did you achieve that? Who did that?
There is a building manager who's
Mhm.
really on top of things. Like when we come in, there's notices on the wall. Like just recently, I guess there've been some problems with people who weren't supposed to be in the building, running around the building. Because, you know, I mean, an open space, it's open,
Mhm.
you know, for squatters and stuff. So they warned people about locking things. And I've seen the fire marshal in here 4 times since February, inspecting and making sure that there were just fire suppression all the way down the hall, and you're not allowed to smoke in the building anymore at all, which is great.
Good.
It's great. So like lots of things. I just feel like they're being very careful, and I think that I don't know if the building has new owners, but they're people who are interested in like having a space that they can rent out for events and
Mhm.
for like photographers will rent spaces for like to set up like beautiful scenes, and the people next door do that. That's their whole job, is they own a warehouse full of antique furniture, and they will set up all these beautiful things.
Sounds amazing.
So I feel like they're really on top of it, and anytime that I've had a question or a concern, the building manager has like answered me immediately, and he's the one who asked, just like, well, do you want power on both sides? I'm like, yes,
Yes, please.
please.
Power to me.
Yeah. So they've done a lot of work, and I see ongoing work.
Mhm. And again, there is no entity really. It's a loose affiliation, a loose collective.
Yeah.
Who's paying the building manager, for example?
Well, there is an owner
There is an owner.
whose name I don't know, and
Anonymous.
I've never met him. It is known. I just don't know
Okay.
it. I've never met him. And yeah, so but
Mhm.
the building manager is the one that like that's who we talk to and pay rent to, and he's always here working on something.
Yeah. So it's great. So do you think there's room for more buildings like this in Dayton? Are there other projects that could be
I think
created?
so. I mean, gosh, there's like empty buildings all over
Mhm.
the place.
Yeah.
And I feel like, especially when you look at the Front Street model, which has kind of gone up and down over the years about who was there and whether it was successful. They had a really successful year, and that I feel like there's momentum building, and so getting more people into these spaces that they're working spaces, and I'm trying to build that, like, I guess, the community where we're actually talking to each other. So it's good. I think people have a tendency to hole up in their spaces, and I'm like that too, where I'm just like, I'm working, and but it would be really nice to see this building with people on Friday nights.
Mhm.
I would love it if something like, have you been to the Pendleton in Cincinnati?
Mm-mm. We're going to Cincinnati. Artists United starting a tour, a 16-city
You
tour.
need to hit a final Friday if you can possibly manage it. The
Let's see if that
entire
works.
Pendleton building has nothing but art studios in it. So like 8 floors, all the way down, every single one. And it's amazing. So it would be awesome if we could start seeing stuff like that. But like I said, this is a mixed use space, so not everybody is down with having people wander the building.
That
so
makes
there's
sense.
a balance.
Yeah. Well, Artists United is trying to help the artists connect with each other more, and that's why we're doing this outreach tour, is to help the artists
Yeah.
in Dayton to connect with each other more, but then connect them to the bigger network of 35,000 people that we've signed up.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's all about the collaboration, and so I'm just so happy that I saw what you're doing, and I heard about your projects, and I hope you'll come on Saturday, tomorrow, to our event. Do you think you can join us?
I'm working
Oh,
tomorrow.
okay.
I have a job at a theater production
okay.
company in the morning, so that's why I
nice.
didn't sign up initially. I'm so
Yeah.
bummed about it.
That's
but
okay. We're going to be here for a long time. We have Jess McMillan is our chapter captain, and
So I
Curtis
can
is our U.S. program committee
Find a
member.
way to
Yeah.
get involved
Yeah.
in there. Curtis is
Yeah.
like, I gotcha.
We're not going to let her get away. And is it okay with you if we post this on Artists United Television, our online show?
That is totally fine. It's
Okay.
great. I'm
Yeah.
so happy that you guys came out to see.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks
great.
for having us. And can I get your card so I can also stay in touch with you, and I'll give you mine?
Yes, I would love
Okay.
it.
Wonderful.
All right.
And I feel like now I know what encaustic is. I didn't really
Yeah.
know.
Thank you, Kate
Oh,
Santucci.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks.
This
Thanks
was
for
like a
coming.
real live